Confiance.
Good evening, so welcome. I'm Alfonso Zianso, to the radio and LPR-TV. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I'm Alfonso Zianso. Right here, this evening, as usual, this is LPR-TV Live with the Panelists, and very shortly they're going to be here. Let's listen to the sound. Thank you so much. Welcome to the program. I'm also saying so to the Nigeria Public Radio and LPR-TV. Welcome to the show. Good evening. So we say welcome. I'm Alfonso Zianso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your Friday with us. This is LPR Live with the Panelists. They will soon be here, and we're going to be having a conversation right here, right now. A lot is unfolding inside and outside of Liberia, in our bid to keep the news proportional, fair, balanced, and objective, not necessarily to talk what you want to hear, but to tell you what you need to know. The media, politicians, advocates, the society is polarized, and there must be someone to stand in the gap to stop the entertainment that is unfolding, keeping track of what is happening inside Liberia, outside of Liberia, the world, the neighbor. And this is what we do here at LPR, keeping close eyes on the heavily contested presidential race in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. 6 hours, 23 more minutes to go. Nigerians across the country will be going to the poll to elect the new president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Massive preparations, according to news monitor from channels and other major cable news network. Security is on high alert in making sure that Nigerians no one is disfranchised in this consequential process. Over 18 candidates and 3 major ones seems to be the one to get the bait here. We're going to be looking at that and what is happening. He's back in the news. The Lord Mayor of Monrovia, Jefferson Tambakoji, has been accused, allegedly accused. A very important figure, the former chair of the TRC, Councillor Jerome Verdier. A lot of questions is being raised with what is going on now. So if all of the truths are there, why they can't come out and they'll begin to feel Liberians in bits and pieces? I am interested to know. Hopefully, I have the chance to talk to Councillor Verdier. What is the authenticity? Is TRC will begin to come into questioning. So when did he realize that Koji and others who have been accused of wrongdoings, and why did the TRC ask these people to just tell the narrative, and that they won't be held accountable based on the information that will be provided to the Liberian people? The wheel seems to be turning around. How did we get here? The former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. Orris has been murdered, and Councillor Jerome Verdier told our sister network that it was the work or doing of the Lord Mayor of the city of Monrovia, Jefferson Koji, who more or less kept being in the front lines of the news. So who is willing to take the bull by the horn? Hopefully the panelists will be here. We're going to have this conversation. One of the presidential hopeful, Councillor Tiawanse Gonglo, with his brom, has gone to sympathize with the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. What did the Unity Party, the previous government, do to put in place measures to protect former government? Here we are. We are having these conversations. We're going to be bringing it in real time. And of course, of you, our listeners, viewers, you have the opportunity to also make your voices heard. It's not about us. It's not about them. It's about you. And I say it on this network, do not leave this with politicians, these people who claim to be advocates, but they are in a double standard game from what we're seeing unfolding right now. Some of them were in government, they were in positions. They didn't muster the courage to exit government knowing what they know or things were going wrong. Yeah, out of government, they turned to little chihuahua. And the soundbite and the red meat is all out there. Let's get a conversation. I'm Alfonso Zian Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV, keeping it fair, balanced, objective. You're going to be part of the conversation. Stay tuned. I will be right back.
Welcome to Fiber Queen off of Woodland. Everyone that's looking for nice African for wedding, whatever fiber you need, you can just come over here. You have all this nice stuff. If you need ashebi, you guys can come over here for baby shower, for wedding. You guys are welcome. She have really nice stuff. You can see all over there, all those men over here. You don't have to go to the theater and then they're going to be telling you all kind of stories. You can just come here. They're already made. And for ladies, you can just look for whatever fiber you're looking for and match it for the men. And, your husband already have a shirt made. You can get stuff for your kids. You can get stuff for the whole family. We have African slippers and ashobi hand ties all over. We have different kinds of lists and everything. So you guys are welcome, okay? It's really nice. It's Fiber Queen. On Woodland, 95 off of Woodland. 6625 Woodland Avenue, okay? So you guys are welcome, 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 welcome. You have nice stuff here for ladies, for men, for kids, and for everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia is 100% African-owned business. At Fabric Queen, we are specialized in high-quality wax product, Swiss lace, jewelry, and beauty products that will make you shine like the queen of fabrics. We are located at 6625 on Woodlands Avenue, 10 Philadelphia. Telephone number 215-800-0228. Tell the management of Fabrics Queens in Philadelphia is easy and salt of the Liberia Public Radio gives you this message. Tell all Akwaba.
Do you want to share your events with the world? Why not contact us? We are Liberia Public Radio, LPR. We are the specialists in advertisements, commercials, radio and TV services. We have the professionals that can help you sell your products and provide live coverage of all events such as weddings, conventions, graduations, reunions, anniversaries, sports, birthdays, baby showers, religious activities, funerals, and many more. Take your phone right now and call any of the following numbers: 682-433-8802, 267-648-6089, 484-786-3337, or 916-533-2048. Our customer service representatives are waiting to take your calls and give you the needed assistance. It is LPR, the home of excellent media services and your friends in business. Hello listeners, this is Mazola, the lover boy. I'd like to invite you to this exciting program. It is called Dancing for Jesus. It is intended to play beautiful inspirational music to help you turn your life to God. Join me on every Sunday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is our way of showing appreciation to God for the good things He has done for us and continue to do. Don't miss this opportunity. Join Mazola Gizi on every Sunday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the program Dancing for Jesus. Please be there because I will be here to rock it out for you. Do you want to share your events with the world? Why not contact us? We are Liberia Public Radio, LPR. We are the specialists in advertisements, commercials, radio and TV services. We have the professionals that can help you sell your products and provide live coverage of all events such as weddings, conventions, graduations, reunions, anniversaries, sports, birthdays, baby showers, religious activities, funerals, and many more. Take your phone right now and call any of the following numbers:
Good evening, good evening. Thank you so much. Doing a little bit of housekeeping here to get this program on the way to our many viewers, listeners across the globe, right here, USA, Liberia, other parts of the world, under the sound of my voice. We say good evening. We say good morning. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. This is the Liberia Public Radio, LPR-TV. I am your host, and I'm Gota Francis, so right here at the New England Bureau Decks, bringing you news, information, keeping the proportional, fair balance, and also allowing you to be part of the conversation. Well, the whole world eyes is on the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In less than 6 hours, over 93 million Nigerians will be going to the poll to elect a new president. Over 18 candidates in the race. Out of that, 3 seems to be the eye-catching one that could get the taste of the higher office of the land. How is the process? We are monitoring news, cable news network, and other sister network in Nigeria. Security is on a high alert to make sure that Nigerians, no Nigerians is left out of the show, making sure that they exercise their God's given right. Well, part of that, and I love what is going on. INEC, that's the Election Commissions in Nigeria, today hosted a major conference ahead of this consequential presidential elections, which is tense. All eyes on Nigeria to make sure the outcome of this election. And I see this as a learning process for us and as a nation. The collaborations of INEC and security apparatus to reassure Nigerians of the process and how much preparations is being made. That is very much important considering the fact we have our elections at hand. Unless the process, much has not been done, but political drama and political satires and entertainment is being inserted, only waiting to see at the end of the day for the blame game and to shift the wheel of the conversation. Well, INEC chairpersons and the IG, that's the Inspector General of the Police, in a joint conference today, told the people of Nigeria, Liberia Public Radio, courtesy of sister television channels, we managed to capture this audio to give you a sense of what is happening in Nigeria. Is that applicable to in Liberia? Will we see that happening in Liberia? Will we be having this sort of conversation instead of us having this entertainment that is meaningless to the process in Liberia, rather to enhance and promote political agendas of greedy politicians, so-called advocates, so-called media gurus, who are also taking side, making it very difficult to keep the conversations of Liberia in real time. Let's listen to this here. That's the IG, the Inspector General of Police, speaking to Nigerians in the presence of international news reporter.
The representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations, the Inspector General of Police,
that's the INEC chairperson,
the representatives of the OIC, National Commissioners INEC, the convener, Civil Society Situation Room. I can see NOB from a distance. Our development partners, representatives of the various security agencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like, first of all, to welcome the Inspector General of Police to this briefing. As I said yesterday, I had the firm assurance of the Inspector General that he will join us today, and he is here. No one else in Nigeria is in a better position to speak on internal security, including election security, than the Inspector General of Police. We appreciate your presence, IGP. Arising from the media briefing yesterday, some issues were raised to which the Commission promised to investigate and respond at this meeting. First is the availability of identification cards and vehicle stickers for accredited journalists in Lagos, Osun, and Gombe states. I have confirmed from the 3 states that all the cards for journalists that applied through our portal have been received and either fully collected or available for collection. The only outstanding accreditation is for other media organizations, mainly online, that operates in towns and communities whose accreditation is handled by the resident electoral commissioners after proper identification by the state chairman of the Nigeria Union of Journalists. I urge the media organizations in this category to liaise with our resident electoral commissioners immediately. On vehicle identification stickers, there is no special sticker for journalists. We have the general election duty stickers for all vehicles, including those used by observers and INEC officials. These stickers are available in all our state offices and will be provided to all accredited journalists. The second issue is the unfortunate incident involving the candidate of the Labour Party in Enugu State. I can confirm that we have now received a formal communication from the political party informing the Commission of the death of its candidate for Enugu East Senatorial District. The party also conveyed its intention to participate in the election for that constituency by replacing its deceased candidate. This request is in line with the provisions of the law. For clarity, I would like to quote verbatim Section 34, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, which says, and I quote, "If after the time for the delivery of nomination paper and before the commencement of poll, a nominated candidate dies,
just to give you a
the
little bit taste of what was
National
happening.
Electoral Commissioner shall, being satisfied of the fact of death, countermand the poll in which the deceased candidate was to participate, and the commission shall appoint some other convenient date for the election."
Let's get the conversation going here. We give you a lot here. Okay, my analyst is there here. Let's get a conversation. So we'll try to keep track of what is happening outside of Liberia. We shouldn't just get used to only Liberia. Let's begin to have a conversation on some of the news making headline. The guys are here, standing by cross country for have this conversation here, and I'm going to be having their take as well. Let's give it a little bit colorful background. With me is Mr. Jones Otavius Malice Sr. Is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio based in the Ocean State of Rhode Island, right here within my own proximity. And of course, in the liberal state of California, is a strong supporter of the opposition to Alternative National Congress, legendary former insider from the first branch of government, Jonathan Dolake is here. Gentlemen, good evening, happy Friday, good to have you here. I see Mr. Jones in his James suit. Are you going to Nigeria to monitor the process or what? You want to fight?
I think so.
Okay, look, there are other news happening in our country, but news is we can be like a monument. We just confine ourselves to Liberia. We need to keep track. The stability in Nigeria is a greater integrator to a good Liberia as well. They are our neighbors. They were part of what we were in dining. They came to us, and it's good for us to have this conversation here. So it's good that we have this conversation here. Let me just bring you guys in here. Good evening. Thank you for sharing your Friday evening with us. Okay, Nigeria, 6 hours to go, Jonathan Dolake. In time to come, we will be getting at this point at some point in time. And that was a press conference. If you listen to that, the police, the IG, when you listen to the other part, the IG was speaking, is like, just say, look, police, you know your duty. No arm except those accredited. There's a joint cooperation, both elections officials, the security apparatus, and all of the stakeholders into the process. And by virtue of the Inspector General and the National Election Commission's side by side having these sort of briefings, that seems to reassure Nigerians of the process. We want to wait and see just from the face value here. And what you make of the process? There are three guys here. Let's see here. Bola Tinebot, age, what, 70? Abubakar, 76, and the youngest is Peter Orbit of the Labour Party, 61. Nobody knows what's going to be the outcome of that. But should we be concerned with what's happening in Nigeria, by the way?
Certainly. Am I live?
Live, well and clear, very audible.
Yeah. Certainly, Nigeria hosts a very huge population of Africa, and Nigeria play a very significant role in not just Liberia peace process, but in the entire sub-region and Africa at large. And so having a stable or having a regular elections that is free of all of the vices is quite cardinal, not just to Nigeria, but to the entire sub-region in Africa at large. So it is quite a critical moment in the life of Nigeria with the likes of Boko Haram that we have heard about countlessly. We used to hear about the Niger Delta emancipation group when I was in Port Harcourt 2004 and 2005. So I understand clearly that it is a monumental event in Nigeria. I hope that it will end very peacefully, like the commission has said, but it is a critical moment for Nigeria. And I just like to say that among those individuals, which is not a key factor, that they have some of the best. Peter Obi as an individual have been very practical. So we hope to see the best happen.
We hope to see the best happen. Jones Otavius Mali, Nigeria, Africa's superpower too, right? They are going to the polls in less than 6 hours. They will be making it a consequential decision as to who to lead their country for the next year per their constitution before subsequent election it comes. Do we care to pay attention what is happening there? And there could be a lesson learned, not just only for us as Liberians, the opposition, the government, and those who are executing the electoral process in Liberia. I'm wondering whether they even send people there to monitor to see what is happening as well, because it's a learning process and a lot can be learned from that. Your take?
Well, I think the election in Nigeria, it should be something that should capture the attention of the government and the people of Liberia and Liberian everywhere. You would agree with me that I hate to say, but there's this cloud of election anarchy hanging over Nigeria, which of course, vice versa, could be hanging over Liberia. You have this insecurity, almost the lack of law and order with these armed factions all over the place in Nigeria, and the government even finding it difficult to putting under control. It's quite something to worry anyone.
Is that who phone working?
Yeah, just 1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
Hello?
Okay, then let's just.
Oh, cheers, just 1 minute. I got
to open my. Yeah, do what you're supposed to do here. Okay, so that's what we're supposed to do. As soon as he comes back, we're going to be joining him to make his analysis. But it's important that we also have a conversation about this thing here. Let's give you a little bit run through here information that we receive through the courtesy of ANEC, visiting their website and election officials. About 93,469,000 eligible voters registered to vote out of 219 million people. This is the number that registered to vote. And so based on this number, the election officials would definitely determine the winner after all of the votes counted. Election commissions observe or tally it. Let's go through here. They provide some other specific here that we can dwell on just to share some information with you, which of course most of you may have had now who was a news freak. 52% of that number, interesting it, are registered male voters. 47.5% are female. So this sort of demographic, this sort of breakdown here gives you an insight of how to you, if you are contestant, what could be your target point and where you should really go to get the numbers that you need to get to put you to the finishing line. That is very crucial. All of the candidates, I've been monitoring the news since, in fact, from day one, because if you listen to channels, television, the conversation being here, I'm sorry to say, I'm not saying everything about that is 100%, but you can see the news aspect of it. People are informed, hearing from both sides. You don't just get from one side and run with it like chicken with our hair and just make the public to consume wrong information because you did not do your due diligence. That is just been another issue we hope to talk about, and we hope the media industry in Liberia, including all of us that sit on these platforms and have these conversations, we will not just, it's not about ourselves, and we should not incite ourselves into this whole thing here. It's not about us. Our job is to get the information and provide these information to the Liberian people. Adolake is back here. Let's see. It is quite interesting from 2001, but they've been very regular with their census aspect too, because that determines the number of people. What are the country populations is decreasing or increasing? You know exactly from 2021, 2022, 2021, you have 213.4 million. 2022, we have 218.54 million. And 2023, 219. So you can see the gradual increase of the population of Nigeria because people make reference to it. So that is a great thing here. George, I'm not saying you. Yeah, okay, Jonathan, carry on. So out of all of those plenty candidates, basically the war on Nigerians are looking at three. Tano Bolat, Abubakar, Atuku Abubakar, and Peter Obi of the Labour Party. Those are the three folks that people are looking at. Mr. George, maybe you want to go off and come back here. I'm still not capturing. So do you think here, let's make a guess here. Do you think, okay, good. I think you should be on here. Do you think NEC or election officials in Liberia will still send people there to go observe the process as well, to be a kind of learning thing, and probably it can be adapted? If not all, Nigeria is a different country, we are a different country, but the bottom line is elections, and so there could be a lesson learned from that. Is that something you think they're going to do?
I definitely know that Liberia will send her representative to that election. As you are aware, Liberia is part of the West African ECOWAS Parliament, and so they have to observe it both from the ECOWAS Parliament standpoint and as well as from the government of Liberia. I know before Dr. Abraham Yang used to move around in those country of elections and monitor and bring feedback, lesson learned from that, at different length. It will be quite an interesting election, especially with the entrance of Peter Obi. And one thing caught my attention, particularly about Peter Obi, is that when he was a governor of Anambra State, he advanced a suggestion of presidential palace. That was a very catchy moment. Look, it was catchy to me because when we were on the campaign tour 2017, and we went as far as Butwo, and then the structure was there and was believed to be where it is meant to be hosting the president of the country. It was kind of funny. and and there where the political leader was meant to be hosted. And when I heard it, this is where the president is being hosted in Butuo. I mean, areas that with its surrounding no network connection, what good is it going to do for the president who does not sleep there? And by the way,
What was the strategy for that, Janita?
I don't understand. I think it just makes use of resources. So when he was explaining that, look, even if it will cause the president to come and stay in my house and I leave my bedroom for the president to sleep, instead of building a structure that will cost millions of dollars, that will only be standing there and nobody will be there until the president comes once in a while, that he has the ability to fly anytime he's the president, he can sleep anywhere. I think it was a waste. So when Peter Obi said those kind of things, and he mostly driving towards the economy, the empowerment level, then I feel that, I mean, the election is being engaged from a youthful perspective to change the dynamics of Nigerian politics. So we are just hopeful that the best result will come from our neighboring country, our brothers who have stood for Africa and West Africa.
Okay. Jones, I think you were carrying on before you left. Is there anything you want to add on it?
Yeah, what I want to add on it is that I'm more worried about the security aspect of the election that should be held in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Nigeria. I'm concerned about the security because I believe strongly that election come with consequences. And Nigerians have been very tense since the preparation of these elections. And the news are even getting right now are not good news at all. But we just try to hope for the best. Because in politics, the success of what you do depends on your preparation. And you realize that the issue of security in Nigeria rather, has been on for a very, very, very long time. And with this election on hand, the issue of intimidation, free and fair election, is something that I doubt it is actually going to take preeminence in Nigeria. I doubt it a whole lot because whatsoever that's going to happen in Nigeria, trust me, is even going to happen in Liberia. So this is where my worry comes from. And as Jonathan said, Peter obeyed. I mean, it's like he one person that driving the young population in Nigeria. Yes, he's between the young and the old population. So it's like he getting a bit more attention and good reception in Nigeria than the rest of the two candidates, you see. Because if you notice, the Nigerian population at the moment, those under 18, those under 30 and above, that chunk is a very huge chunk. And Peter is within that cycle of pulling the crowd. So the issue of security is very, very germane to the Nigerian election. I yield.
Okay, it's our guest. Sister will not be here with us today. We saw, I believe, in the chat group. He's not well, but he's acting like a guy who is well. He's now getting on a genital skin here this evening. I think I need to call a doctor. The doctor, you took that man phone away from him. Rather than asking, was that Donald Trump that did that? They took his phone, they took his devices. They'll take his phone so that we'll see what's going on. Okay, Amos George, good evening, welcome.
Hi, Mr. So and Jonathan, how you doing? And Molly?
Yeah.
Fine.
You, one of the guys seems to be the fan of Peter Obi. Is that why? Is he because he's a young generations? Is that how your calculation based? But you seem to be attracted to him because it seems to be putting eye on him. What's going on? Are you monitoring what is happening in Nigeria?
Oh yes, every day. Look, now because Peter Obi is young, but what Peter Obi records, Anambra State, what he did there, that's why I love the man. He just don't talk. there's a track record of him. When he went to Anambra State, when he took over, in fact, he won the election, and there was a thing, he was in London working, and the case was in court. And one morning, he got a telephone call. They said, come. When he came, they said, the Supreme Court had ruled, you are the governor. He took over. And less than a year, they took him to the Supreme Court to impeach him. The Supreme Court ruled him. But what he did, Anambra State was 26th in education behind. He took that state to number 1. And he made sure every school in Anambra State had 10 students with a computer. He paid off the state debt. He left money in the state coffer. They not own one thing from the government, no pension. He never took land from the state. So you can see the guy with a record. The people calling stingy, he said, look, the state palace, you abolish it. He came 200 people, no car, no government, but he got car. No, there was no car for the people. They brought him millions of naira. He said, no, you call one dealer, buy 200 cars for all the employees. This is the man that I look at. And that's why Nigerians, the young people, are gravitating towards this guy. So it's not just because he young, no, but the policy, what he did in that state, the record is there today. And he told us story, Mr. So he said there was a civil servant, this woman worked all her life, and she was retiring. And the woman came to the place, they say she retired, and they come to honor her, this and that. And when the woman came, he asked the woman, he said, so what do you have? The woman said, only under 35,000 now, what they will pay me, that's all. And someone, he said, official, they brought a deed to him, a land deed that morning. They said, this land is for you, governor. And he asked the woman said, I don't have a horse. But he said, you work all this year for federal government. What happened? She said, well, I was in Iowa. He said, he instructed the man, said, that land you want to give me, this is the woman that deserved it. She had worked for the state all those years. Take the land and put it to her and give it to her, let she go with it. That's a man who has empathy, feeling for people. That's why I see young Nigerians, women, all of them, they have gravitated towards this man. You can see, I don't know, but you saw some of his rallies.
Mm-hmm.
You saw some of his rallies.
On
Lagos State.
Channels, yeah.
In Lagos, they say he should not go there. He cannot go to the market. When he went there, the whole place turned upside down. That's the home of Tinubu. Tinubu is the governor of Lagos State. The people say he has built infrastructure. But Lagos State, there's no current, no water. Unemployment rate is high. Crime is on the rise in Lagos State under Tinubu. Abubakar was former vice president. The record there, I think, he was under investigation for drug business in America. Yeah. He been on a several investigation about him.
Okay.
Billionaire. And they
okay, well,
money.
Our job is to give a sort of a conversation. Ultimately, the Nigerians themselves are going to be the decider. It's a decision day. They're going to be making a decision as to who will lead a great country in the next couple of years per their constitution before going to the poll. Okay, let's come back home. Is there anything you want to add, Jonathan, before we shift gear? Yeah, anything you want to add?
Absolutely not. We are just hopeful. I mean, like Pat Joe said, Obi may not be the very favorable, but his narrative and the way he had demonstrated over the period of his governorship life and his life in public office is clear an example of how many youth who want betterment of their country want to follow. So that's all I can add.
Okay.
Yes, I know the guy, one of the senators for the Labour Party.
Yeah.
Enugu State.
Enugu State, they gave him.
Yeah, I spoke on that. Okay. Thank you so much for the analysis. We need to get out of our own comfort zone to see what is happening with our neighbors, with our African brothers and sisters as well. Let's come home. Much is being talked about. We need to have a conversation. Tamale Jones is back with us. He's back in the picture, in the fries. This time, he's been accused. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. But I'm wondering where all of this coming from and why no one is taking the bull by the horn. We want to do a little bit backtracking, how we got to this point, some of the sound bites. We're going to bring it into reality. Politicians, when supporters are in support and they're ready at all costs to defend their politicians, those who strongly believe in at all levels, no matter what. The Lord Mayor of the State of Monrovia, Mayor Jefferson Koji, has been in the vanguard from the days of the then opposition, the Congress for Democratic Change, CDC. And since then, for whatever reason, this seems to be always in the fray. This time coming from a high-profile person who also presided over the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. That's not the first time. He has called out Prince Johnson, the president, and he's also acting like a Yeke Kolubat, that he has everything to his chest, but why is he holding it? His action, does it undermine the credibility of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission? He told the Liberian people, basically, the commission, the purpose was there to allow these people to tell their narrative, the story, and whatever said before the commission would not be brought against them. Now, to Verdier has been very vehement in speaking out. The president is involved in killings, and even the Lord Mayor of the State of Monrovia, Jefferson Koji. Where is Verdier? Verdier is here, I believe, in the United States. But let's do a little bit backtracking and bring into reality what is unfolding today, and we're going to have a conversation here. Let's take us through this here courtesy of KMTV, a sister network in Liberia, when they got in leadership in their positions at the time, and we'll look at their position now.
That we cherish so much, we remain committed, we remain focused. Our president is committed in ensuring that the lives of our people are improved. Our president is going from place to place, galvanizing resources to build the entire Southeast that have been abandoned for over 171 years. So this is a distraction. This is an international propaganda to ensure that he doesn't succeed. But let me say, let me say, let me end on this note, not to bore you too long. We will not be distracted. We will remain focused. We will continue with the pro agenda in lifting our people from poverty. I want to say here in emphatic tone that we trust the credibility of our leaders, especially our president, His Excellency Dr. George Panelists. He has no history of any thievery or robbery in his entire life. So those who spewing gibberish and innuendos are the ones who have created this problem for us. Before I take my seat, let me leave you with a few quotes by Dr. Martin Luther King, who said, and I quote, "The ultimate tragedy is not the cruelty and the wickedness of those people who have spewed our hatred against our people, but the silence over that by our friends. It's time for us to identify with this cause. It's time for us to stand up with our president. It's time for us to support him. He's at the UN making a case for Liberia. This thing here came just in time when the president was about to go make a very brilliant case to attract both foreign investment. But at the end, we shall overcome. Sing the song with me. We shall over.
As politicians, at some point in time, to get in a religiable and sink a drum as quiet as to satisfy their political career or political desires, and that has been happening on both sides. As the Congress for Democratic Change, we're taking a break and try to do a little bit of backtracking. Here is Major Jefferson Koji.
Each and every member of the Panelists for Democratic Change and the Liberian people who stood on our side of justice, ensuring that this Macbeth regime who tried to break the spirit of conscious revolutionaries in prison. When I was invited by the Liberian National Police, they misconstrued the information and said I was arrested. I want to let the Liberian people to be informed at no point in time that I ever got arrested. On Monday, last week Monday, I walked at the National Police Headquarters being accompanied by Honorable Thomas Fang. I was being made to know that I was invited for questioning for an alleged ID, second services at the CDC headquarters.
Okay, that was Jefferson Koji to remember what happens at the headquarters.
Yeah, you do.
Change. We'll try to debate backtracking here to what happened.
If you don't have, you can create one. It's just no matter.
But let me see, I'm getting the background talking. Is that Malice? Malice, then you want to mute your phone. Let's get you off the stage here. If that's the case, you want to mute your phone. Okay. So that was Mayor Jefferson Koji to remember the incident at the Congress for Democratic Change. But he's been on this political maritime in the vanguard for CDC. This is way back when he was released from the station. We are getting somewhere to this conversation here. I want you to wait and see. This was CDC when Jefferson Tamakoji. So, the histories of Koji in the political space in Liberia cannot be overlooked. He's been that, and apparently he does have the young folks, especially seditions, heavily give him his political backing. What yesterday, it surfaced again, a lot unfortunately we cannot count on. On our sister network, the former TRC chairperson, Councilor Jerome Verdier, told the world, not just on the Spoon Network, that Jefferson Koji is a killer, or he is involved into the killing of the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Glorot Mosuscat. This is what unfolded yesterday on our sister network television, Spoon Network. Just hold on 1 second. Let's see here.
Further welcome again to the platform. Thank you for coming in. I understand you said you had a few words to say about the situation involving Madam Gloria Scott. Could you please speak to us?
Yes, ma'am, very precisely. And I followed the program a little bit, and it was said that the government's intervention was very, very late because the attack on Justice Scott was a government operation, and the police was told to stand down. Specifically, I don't know if we know who Jefferson Koji is. He was the one who organized and masterminded the attack on Justice Scott. At the moment, we are trying to find out the purpose or the objective. It is not very clear yet. It will be personal or political because of her current political role. But the guy who entered the house is one Valley Taylor. Valley Taylor. He lives in the Brewerville area. He works at the Monrovia City Hall as the deputy Chief of Operations for Montreal City Hall Police. He's a former A2U officer, and he's a former fighter of Ulimo K. He did a lot of killing in Sino County. He's a very dangerous killer. He entered there and carried out the operation. When he entered the house, he had nothing on his feet, and he had no top, no shirt, no dress, no nothing. And he entered with short pants. The intention was to sodomize, that was the plan, to sodomize the justice. When he got in, the reaction of the child who tried to prevent him, the children who tried to prevent him from entering her private premises, he killed one and wounded the other. When he got in as far as the justice, she had a pepper spray. And that was her last defense. She sprayed him a lot. And so his plans was aborted. He didn't succeed in doing what he wanted to do. The children got injured, and I think she was touched a little bit. But Jefferson Koji is the one who ordered that hit on Justice Mususkat. And as we all have realized, killings have gone on. We have reports that we are timing when to release. The 3 missing boys, that one was directly done by President Weah himself. The killing of Banten Yinsua was done by agents of the very Koji. We have a full comprehensive report on that. And the killings go on and on. It's a sad state for our country. There's a lot that needs to be done. We hope that international community will come in and do what they have to do. But reports have been ready. Reports have been sent out of the country already. And I'm just going through the synopsis. Who, when, where. Most of the things we haven't found out is the objective, except they are just killers who believe they have to kill. We are still investigating the motives and the objectives. We don't have much.
So,
but with respect to, yes, ma'am.
Yes, Counselor, we would like to have the opportunity to just ask you at least one question each. How do you know this, Counselor? How do you know that Koji has some sort of connection to this killing? How do you know this?
There are 2 things. We will be asking government for an investigation, an independent inquiry into all of these deaths. We have the evidence. We are on the ground. We monitor movements on the ground. We have people within the government state apparatus who communicate with us, and we verify. We do not rely on one evidence from one person. We verify most of what we say, and that's how we get to know. There are a lot of things going on that we monitor when it comes to corruption, human rights violation, and crimes against humanity. We monitor them very closely.
Thank you, Councilor. Honorable Falcon, do you have a question for the Councilor? You muted.
Okay. That was on a major cable network. Former TRC chairperson Jerome Verdier told the world, not just Liberia, not just Liberians in the diaspora. Making a fair and balance, the lawmaker decided to make his side of the story heard. Today, in the nation's capital of Monrovia. Let's listen to this, guys, and we're going to get to the nucleus of this conversation strictly. This is the lawmaker of the state of Monrovia, Major Jefferson Tamba Koji.
We are struggling to build the lives of our people. We are building every single fiber, step by step. Even some of the countries that were way ahead of them, today we are trading behind them. Now I think our Liberian people have gone to the realization that peace cannot be compromised. And that's why, as the mayor, and that's why the president has been consistent in showing the first time ever that I know there are some challenges, extreme challenges, but in it all, We want to commend them because.
Okay, time is fast spent. We need to have this conversation going here. Look, gentlemen, I think probably this train going to derail here tonight. This is getting to be very, very ugly. It is dangerous to the country. It is absurd. And it's lack of voice. Jerome Verdier, he served as a chair of TRC. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. He knows better. He knows a lot. His narrative provides as if there was a camera mounted. Let me be crystal clear with this. The past government all kicked the can down the road. There should have been some sort of security in place for these former government officials. Not all of them. Maybe the government does not have the resources, but the former Chief Justice, there was a line. I do not know how much. We tried to reach out to Deputy Police for Public Affairs, Moses Carter. Not much has been done. Nothing was put in place. That's not even the justification for what has happened to happen, but that should have been the case. That should have been put in place in the first place. But I'm concerned this repeated accusation, is great. We all Liberians deserve to know. He presided at very consequential process at TRC. And from what I'm hearing, the president, the city mayor, they are involved in killing. And Jerome Verdier, and this is where there's some sort of a little bit disappointing aspect. He used the words, we are investigating. I thought the interviewer were going to ask, who are they investigating? And then he came back to say it, they were asked the government. So where is there an independent investigation that he or his group or whoever aligned with him being carried on? And if that independent investigations is being conducted and that these people are being convicted, why can't we know why holding or when was those investigations being conducted? Who are those part of that investigation? Why, if this is so, Jerome Verdier is known. Why can't get these documents or these evidences that he claimed and those that people that are involved and keep holding on? Yeah, he does not trust the government. They are waiting for a government to come in place. So what happens if another thing comes out tomorrow? Only just to tell us and nothing much is being done. This is dangerous. This is lack of patriotism to the country. And taking a real political line because it appears because of Musu Glorious Scott business with Liberty Party now, this thing, is it a payback coming? I want to know if it's the law major or any Liberian whose life has been taken away for whatever reason. We need to know. I don't think one or two persons deserve the right to just hold the information to their chest without us knowing. He's a lawyer. I think they claim major government and state partners. Guys, let's have this conversation here. Let me start with you, Jonathan. If you listen to this, his explanations is crystal clear as like some sort of webcam was mounted and it was relayed stage by stage, happening from one stage to another, and he perhaps get everything that he needs. We heard what he said about Prince Johnson. They are still there. So who carry on these investigations that have provided all of these clues to Councillor Jerome Verdier?
Firstly, there were two persons on that.
This is a guy he want to alle. I say sorry. He want to alle when he bottle to different. He said,
the man, I told the man, my sister will put that many time out.
Go ahead. Okay, I will put a number out, sister. I wouldn't want to wear pressure to go up. I need to ask the madam to see whether you want you supposed
my sister take it out of me. But on a serious note, there were two persons that appear on that show as guests. One a guest panelist and the other were called in, which was Councillor Verdier. Councillor Verdier gave his account And he said that they are talking to people in the government who are providing information. As to whether it is true or not, it can only be determined by the investigation. And whether CDC can do a better investigation, it is left with the what I see on my phone here, 520 person plus the 4 of the 525 person. It left with all of us to investigate as to whether CDC is good at investigating and laying the fear of our people and breaking up genuine findings that resonate with the people according to facts. But I mentioned 2 persons because Councillor Verdier gave his version about Councillor Gloria Mususkat's daughter that was killed and they robbed it on a home. Another person is our young, brilliant statistician called G. Alex Williams. Because you are speaking about camera CCTV. He also mentioned that since he left Liberia, he has been interacting with international partners, and what they have shown to him and what he has seen through video, voice recording, and many pieces of evidence demonstrate clearly that many of his friends who are back home should be careful because the international partners are monitoring very carefully. Now, what comes to my mind is that if we will assume, to play the devil advocate, that Councillor Verdier is wrong, his assertion, it is not meaningful. It means that we have to judge it from the character of the president, his lieutenants, Mr. Koji, who I have nothing against. Now, we go back to history, it can tell us clearly that when Albert Peters, who his wife said he's a committed man to a home, does not stay out late. Gifted Lama, who husband said she was a committed wife, said that the president said that if they use conditionality term, that if it is true that these people are involved in boyfriend and girlfriend, now as a head of state, commander of chief, head of the armed forces of the country, that cannot be a first utterance. That is just one instance. It was irresponsible. It demonstrated that it created a thought of debasement of the death of people who were murdered gruesomely. Then he moved to the CCTV camera situation. So these things.
Yeah, let's make it brief to the point so we can spin it.
Let me make it brief. It says a lot of things. Keta way small, Papa. My own brother so agree.
No, don't worry about Keta. I am in charge.
My own brother so agree with me today that their friends are brother, that Kingsman in Grand Gila County for the National Elections Commission, like you were asking about the 70,000, he doesn't have any information about that missing child who diligently work for our country. Not a single soul should be killed in our country without proper investigation. And so we accept Councillor Verdier allegation as an allegation until it reaches a competent court of jurisdiction, and we take the irresponsible nature of the government past and we blend it to make our own judgment while we wait for investigation. That is the bottom line. By and large, nobody in our country, if a former chief justice cannot be secure, judging from the president's statement of CCTV, though, we have 4 Tubans through our hydro, they came to power, and 2 broke down in 2 years' time. We can certainly say that our country is not safe, that the burden rests with the government, especially when the woman had informed the local police and sat on national platform and informed people, and they were negligible to those fights.
Okay, before I go down to Amos George, unfortunately, you've been so occupied in trying to fund that 70,000, how it happened within your system, which we yet know about in depth. We have followed, we frown, we condemn the killings of Alfred Donald. We reach out to the caucus, the county leaders. Our job is to reach out to them, to give them the opportunity not to convey them in the absent. We express our views, our opinions. They didn't show up. But unfortunately, we were occupied with the internal investigations of the 70K. We yet to get that out here. But I just want to make that full disclosure. Anyway, let me progress. Amos George, let me come to you. You listen to Councillor Verdier. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. He claims that he has things to his chest. Who are those international partners or people that are giving these informations, the videos, the audios? If I'm a Liberian and I see these things is happening to my country and I'm a human rights advocate, I'm a lawyer, then if I know I have all of these things to my chest, just how it is, no politicians, no advocates, no journalists, no ordinary Liberians willing to make a political sacrifice for the good of the country, that I know. But there is a way this information, when they are in your possession, for me to know, for you to know, for others to know, so that we can validate and see how we can make case out of it. It has to get out there. That is still not happening. And we're seeing this sort of talking point coming into place. Let me get your feedback and I'll go to our man, Wharton Keto, who is a pro-GOL supporter.
Let me say this. At this one, something. During Council of Verdier and Jefferson, they have some beat. This beat have been going on for a long time. I don't know what it's about, but they've been on it. But Jerome said, Jerome said something. He was asked, he said, in one of his tips, he did forward a complaint to the RCC about Jefferson Kochi. He said,
have we seen that? Is that in the public domain? Do you think the public needs to have access to it? Or do you think the RCC have received that?
Yeah, he admitted that. He said the RCC,
according to him.
According to the RCC, they receive it. But the prosecution, the chief prosecutor of the RCC said that would be above the pedigree. They cannot try that case.
So what does that mean?
Hold on now. He said that when they say so, that means he cannot go beyond the prosecution. Because if you take a case to a prosecutor and the prosecutor, they say, hey, we can't try the case, but maybe for some reason, you can't do nothing with that. So he said that was done. And he said that if there's a proper government in Liberia that he's comfortable, he can go to Liberia and raise the issue. Perfect. Now, the Jefferson Kochi issue, this and that, he was very, very precise. He called somebody's name, gave a complete description of this person, what this person do in Monrovia, everything. So that is a very grave allegation against that person, and he alleged that it was done under the instruction of Jefferson Kochi. Well, if the government think that this man is making kind of assertion with no evidence, just want to cause chaos, they can use the Justice Department to pursue a case. That's what the Justice Department is there for, to pursue this kind of allegation that this man is making against a citizen of the country or the president of the Republic of Liberia. They have the right to do so. So it's not to say that if Council of Verdier say they don't have remedy, they have remedy, they can go to court. And he's not hiding, he's in America. They can pursue it. And this allegation, let me turn it around. The government, in their own words, Gloria Scott went on radio, complained about being harassed. When she met the Justice Minister, pleaded with him for help. According to the police, they said they have people security in that area. Now, if you people security, that's a former government official. You say she reported that, hey, my life is being threatened. People have come to my house. And the government say, according to the police, they have people security. According to the woman, 9:30 a.m., that when she was attacked. Eyewitnesses account. They start calling the police. From that time, the police, they never got anybody until 11 o'clock. It was when the police arrived. 2 hours later, They call the police station. They say, no, you got to call this depot. Now, my question here, you have a rapid response unit. That rapid response unit should be put to every zone, depot, and police precinct. That in case if anybody call from around the city, when they call that precinct, they say, we're having this, the precinct should be able to call that rapid response unit immediately and say, hold on the line, let's call them and tell them what is happening. But if you call a depot, they say, no, we got to call the other group. We got to call this other group. Where was this beep of security 2 hours? This more being attacked. If you say you beep of security in that area, 2 hours, nobody show up. What is the security beep for? They came, they say there was no breaking. Eyewitness account. Front page, they said no. People showed them window. I was broken in. Now, when you do this kind of thing, you create again more doubts.
Okay.
Of the surveillance. Do you want me to come out on the Jefferson Kochi press issue?
Yes, you would also want to speak it on the.
Yes. Okay, so Jefferson Kochi in his reporter today, it left me a whole lot of questions, Mr. So. If you play that interview, when the Spoon Network TV asking a direct question, do you know this valid man? What work he does here? And do he carry arm? Jefferson composed a change. He dropped his pen and said he could not comment. It was complicated. He could not comment on that. And he said he could not comment on the arm this man. It's a security matter. Now, Mr. Soul, someone have accused you and your deputy for such a crime. The deputy was not present. And you say you cannot explain about the person because it's complicated?
Okay, let's hope he's right there because it's complicated. That's a bone in the throat question there. Let's see the complication. Let's go to Connecticut, where our man, Wharton Keto, is standing by, is a pro-GOL supporter. Keto, good evening. Here we are again in the fries. Who is kicking this can down the road?
Thank you, Brother So. Thank you, Brother So. You know, sometimes I'm kind of disappointed, but not surprised when I hear intelligent people sound the way my fellow colleagues sound here today, when the evidence was right before their very eyes, but they got to go all the way to Geneva and come back before they can even say of anything concrete here. So let me just lay the facts down. The first thing, there were nobody that was accused of committing a crime by the name of such in the police report. The woman who the attack or attackers entered her house, she made a statement. She's a lawyer. She's the former Chief Justice of Liberia, meaning she's a sound woman. She saw the intruder. She said she had hired 3 people to do construction work at her house. And one of them stayed in the house and carried on her attack because she came face to face with her attacker. One of them, she knows her attacker. And it's surprising for a Jerome Verdier to come and pin it on Jefferson Kochi. And I see my old man, Pap George, and I see the 3% defender, Jonathan, come here to put a spin on it. It's sad. It's absolutely sad. We know Jefferson Kochi has been the target for a lot of people in the opposition. If not Jefferson Kochi, it's Samuel Tua. If not Samuel Tua, they will get rid of the other person. Jefferson Kochi.
Why do you think Kochi is being a target for a lot of people in your words? Why?
Especially for Jerome Verdier. You got to go back to the historicity of CDC. When CDC were created, you got to go back there. and you will get to know why Jefferson coaching name is so sweet in Jerome Verdier. I don't call him counselor anymore because a man who lies openly will all even bop in your eyes. I call him a pathological liar. And I don't want to put that name on him on social media. The reason is simple. All right? The reason is very simple.
1 second after
the reason is, and Pajor says something here that I have to correct him. I gotta correct Pajor. Pajor says something, and it's kind of a funny. All right? You talk about Mr. Verdier specifically calling names of somebody. Where is Jerome Verdier? He sits in America, yeah. He's not nowhere around the crime scene. The woman whose house was attacked came out and gave a statement. I know you guys don't even have the statement. Secondly, Pajor said, yeah, again, that Jerome Verdier took a case to the ICC and they put to him that they got no jurisdiction. That was not true. There's a whole dossier that is on social media that I can ask somebody to forward to you, brother, so you can read for yourself. They told him that the case have no iota of truth. No iota of truth. It was baseless. It was baseless. And even 6 of the colleagues from the TRC committee condemned his action. That Jefferson Kochi were nowhere around when our Civil War happened. So I'm so surprised that Pa George will put on a defense of an opposition to not see reality. And this one frustrates me. How can we still want to change our country with a lot of deception, lies, and hypocrisy? How can we do that?
Okay. Hold on. How can we do that? Let's go to Minneapolis, Minnesota. I believe our senior contributor, Sissy Goyo, is on the line. Sissy, are you there?
Yeah. I want to my before my medicine kicking.
Okay, let's go to Minnesota. He's unable to join us here on the video stream here, but so many with technology has done good for us here. So, Sissy, let's hear it from you.
So first thing, good evening to everybody in studio. I'm following the show.
Good evening, brother. How you feel better, man?
My deepest condolences to the former Chief Justice and former Senator. I don't think her grief should be politicized and kicked around as is being done right now. Having said that, a lot of you know that I don't support the re-election of George Weah's CDC. Neither do I believe that they deserve re-election. But we can disagree on policy, on the way forward, and make judgment about the lapses in the functionality of government without being so, and I'm going to use a decent word, without being so hateful. I think there are 2 things at play here with respect to what happened at the Chief Justice's home. Number 1, even Mayor Koji and a lot of people in government have been speaking about the lapse in the protection protocol. Mayor Koji himself even called on today the Justice Ministry and security apparatuses to step up their work. He said, we heard that the Chief Justice made a request on a talk show, and yet nothing was done. He frowned on that, and other people have frowned on that. I too frown on that the police should have done much better. And Mr. So, you and I spoke today, I told you that the police of Madam Ellen Johnson's government should have done much better by the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice should have been entitled to a security detail during the Ellen government and during the George Weah government. But that is the conversation we can have. Way different than what a counselor, a learned counselor, somebody who led an investigation and put out a report that we are using to say we will carry people to court. That Jerome Verdier is telling us that he's done a research, that he's done enough research to be able to come out within 48 hours or less of a crime happening, to spill garbage and indict people, and yet say he will hold on to the evidence, and the government can go investigate. Investigate on what? I think the statement by Councilor Verdier was irresponsible, it was ignoble, it was dangerous, and it should be discounted by any smart Liberian anywhere. I think we can disagree on the way the CDC government is leading our country, but we do not have to put ourselves down to the bottom of the in the quarter and trying to drag people. The first thing, Eugene Fagon, that was on that platform, has said that it was the work of Musa Belede. And now on the same some caller on the platform is saying he has evidence that this is the work of Mayor Koji. That is despicable. And to my two brothers on the platform, whether Jonathan and my Opa, yeah, this is nothing that can be defended. There is nothing here to be defended. We can talk all we want to talk about Alex Williams and everybody else. Jonathan, you really want to tell me that international partners, governments that have secret dossiers about with recordings about government officials in Liberia are going to give access of those dossiers and secret recording to the likes of Williams, with all due respect? To what end? What are they going to achieve with that? What security clearance does he have that people want to give him that evidence? What do they think he can do? Can he prosecute people based on that evidence? I think sometimes we just got to hear people and hear them because they got something to say, but we got to be very smart people and know when people are saying the truth, backed by facts. We don't have to hate Koji to vote Koji and his group out of governance, but you do not have to go down to the water and try to blame people for heinous acts that you have no proof about. And the saddest part about this thing is the lady, the former Chief Justice, is mourning her daughter. She will not be allowed to move her daughter in peace. People are going to come to politicize this, and shame on anybody that tries to politicize this. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here, so we don't insult here. You can disagree with us. But, for me, every bad soul needs a bad medicine. There are some people, I don't care what you do, they choose to be stupid and they will remain stupid. And so if you come on this network here, we don't beg people, we don't go, oh, you're coming. No. We tell you, come and listen, and you make your voice to be heard. So if people want to come here and be disrespectful to other people, insult people without them talking, then you go listen to those places where they can cause man calls, call pass calls, enter calls, and to just throw any kind of words here. Elizana Boniface, Emmanuel Hayes. Stupid name, so you will go. I don't do that, but at times we gotta, this is about the country. And so when people will come here and just insult people and tell them that they are novice, and you can't tell me why the person is novice, you will have no more access until you can create a fake page to come here. And when you create a fake page, and when you come here, if you don't learn from this, you will also be black. And that's how I do it. Thank you so much, Sister Goyot. Let me go to our man, his name, Marley Jones. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me bring you in here. We don't allow people to come and bring in their emotion or why they think. I'll try to get this here. Okay, hold on one second. Okay. We don't allow people to just bring in their emotion. We are talking about a sovereign nation. So we are aware we're going to have a diverse view here, but that doesn't warrant you coming here to insult people. That's so stupid, and that's why we get a country looking at it, we're suffering, talking, and having headache here. Mary Jones, let me just bring you in here. Have you had a chance to listen to Councilor Verdier's accusations against Major Koji? You listen to Koji. What are we going with this?
Well, I think this allegation and counter allegation are not strange phenomena within our setting. You realize that we are running a country with huge attitude of impunity. And so, as I told one of my friends today, the cloud of anarchy is hanging over Liberia as we draw closer to election. and so many horrible things will be heard between now and election time. But as responsible panelists, we cannot jump into conclusion and accuse people when we do not have the evidence. But we can use surrounding scenario to suggest that there is no law and order in Liberia. We can also use other variables to suggest that people are killed in Liberia, and bringing evidence forth, it becomes quite a difficult thing. Probably the CDC-led government have its own constraint, like any other government. But the information from Verdier.
You know what? Let me, Mr. Jones, let me interrupt you here. Oh my goodness. I will allow then he or whoever heard what I hate to introduce. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm in South Chicho, in Liberia. Good morning, good morning, my bro.
Brother! Brother!
Anyway, it's late here. Okay, but Mr. Toh, the Liberal Progressive, good morning. Welcome. Let's hear from you.
Good morning, Mr. So, and I also want to say thanks to all of you for continuing the process. I'm not too sure what is happening here, but as far as I'm concerned, the only issue that I see here in this country is the traffic, and everything else seems to be working. The government is functioning well. From all indication of this tragedy that happened to the former Chief Justice, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, from all indication, even people on ground, those that are the residents, the neighbors, everything is pointing to armed robbery. So I'm not too sure what all these speculations are coming from. If you want to vote out, vote in another group A, that's fine, but you do not have the right to demean and try to, have other people's character assassinated. This is unfair and it's unacceptable. And I think all of us should push that line, and because people want to politicize these kinds of stuff when it's not necessary. And it's not necessary at all. They have not done any kind of investigation themselves. They have not, the speculation out there, that's fine. But until you do a thorough investigation as an intellectual, where you will have some evidence, but you can't just get up and say, I believe or I assume. And this people like Mayor Kochi and people like that, they are people who are working in this country doing things. We might not agree with them, but that doesn't mean if you're going to make some pronouncement, you have to be responsible. Disagreeing with a political figure does not mean that you have to accuse that person of murder or something. It's unacceptable. Until these people can come up with some proof, I don't think we should give them any platform or even any credence of whatever nonsense. I will excuse my language because I'm in Liberia now. So I'm in my hometown. I can say I'm proud to be here. But on a very serious note, so it's not necessary to go there. So I think to even discuss and bring these people's name on our platform, I think it's of course it's news because people are saying it, but we should give them a limited time whatsoever. Because if we don't do that, they will continue to steal this rubbish and try to get our country in a big mess because these are emotional times. And remember also, Mr. So election is coming. So every one of them are jockeying for position and what have you. And when these kinds of tragedy happen, instead of going down and trying to make sense of it, and they're trying to politicize it to get some sort of a fame or whatever past glory they want to bring up for themselves, it's unacceptable.
So let me hear you. Is it because you are in Liberia, your voice is so moderate, or when you come back here, we're going to see a different part of the Liberal?
Mr. So, the Liberal doesn't change. I've always told you this, that I will disagree with this government. I will point out the fault of this government, but I will do it with responsibilities and respect. Because here, for example, I've always said this, today I'm strongly against this government, However, I will not do anything that perhaps would look like some sort of a bias statement or what have you. People have the right to make that judgment. I'm not going to fault them for that. But the point here is, whoever that I'm backing, whoever that I'm going to be supporting, if that person sits in office tomorrow, I expect people to respect that office and respect the leaders of the incoming government. I will do the same thing here. Mr. So, the liberal, nobody hates my mom, I ain't saying anybody more. What would be afraid of? But I must be truthful. And as long as I'm truthful, I'm satisfied with it. You can't come out here, for example. I can come here, for example. I can talk about a role, RRA role, which is, for me as an engineer, is a mess. But that does not mean that I'm going to
just say everything is going all right.
So say this person is responsible, this person.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Samson.
Or this person is responsible, or that person is responsible, and think that if I don't have evidence, the only place I can point my finger, and we should be a legitimate finger pointing, will be the Ministry of Public Works, because that's their responsibility. It is not the responsibility of the president to make sure that roads are constructed properly in terms of standard and what have you. It is the responsibility of the Ministry of Public Works, because that is the arms that is trusted by the executive to carry out their developmental agenda and what have you. Now, that's being truthful. But because of politics, I'm not going to say, of course, you can say the buck stop with President Weah. I can say that. But I will be very careful how I try to stop that buck with President Weah when it comes to the road construction and the road and everything else. So those are different issues. Now, when it comes to policy as well, I can also say the buck stop with the president, but the president have already asked some of the people to come and help him to run the day-to-day affair of the country. He cannot do it all. However, you would say then the buck stop with the president. I agree with it. But we must do it with responsibility and respect. That's all I ask.
So, Libra, before we let you go, I'm not sure whether you still want to hang in there, but do you have intention to go a little further to gather information for yourself? Perhaps maybe see if you can get a rendezvous in place to have a conversation with the law major. Why every now and then, every other time, his name is being brought out into these sort of controversies, accusations, and all of that? Is it possible? Is that something you hope to do?
Well, I hope to extend my invitation to the mayor while I'm here. I hope that he will allow us or give us some sort of leeway to give us information. But here's what I suspect is happening. Mayor Koji is someone who, from our education, what I've read and what I've seen over the past 4 or 5 years, he's someone who wears his emotion on his sleeves, I suspect. For example, he made some what I would consider a ridiculous statement at one time, where he said, "We will meet you with with sweat and blood." Now, when you make those kinds of comments in the political charge system as it is here in Liberia, then of course you have people who will not do their own due diligence to find out what the facts, and before opening up, they'll just make that point, make that connection, and say, if you don't believe me, there's a video. Look what he's saying here. But that does not, because he made that statement some time ago, that does not bring him into this type of situation that is happening. But I will try my best to connect with the mayor if I can, so that perhaps he can give us a clarity. And perhaps it's a legitimate question. Why is it that as young as he is, that his name will be dragged in these kinds of tragedy whenever something happens, people point out things. And it's not just the spectacle. I mean, anywhere you go, people in the intellectual realm in this country, when you talk to somebody, the first thing they do, they put his name out there. And I think it's unfair, to be honest with you. I think it's unfair without any kinds of evidence to just put the mayor name on there because of past experience. And even the past experiences, nobody has proven to us that the mayor had gotten involved into any kind of violent act that they can thoroughly show that he did, except at one time during the 2020 election, where he was has a group of people going to say he said he wanted to rescue his colleague from behind enemy line, and I'm just quoting him now, behind enemy line. So those kinds of stuff as a mayor, when you do these things, I believe you open yourself up for these kinds of connections. But nobody have truly shown us that he truly involved in these things.
The Liberal Progressive of the Liberia Public Radio on the line this morning, hour from the nation's capital. Are you in Monrovia or are you in Zulu Whiskey?
I'm not telling you where I am.
I like that.
Oh my goodness, this guy is so ridiculous. Okay, thank you so much for joining us early this morning.
Well, thank you guys.
So wait a minute, CDC not put it for in your more, eh?
Which one of the CDC? The real CDC or the
USA CDC?
The other CDC.
Which CDC you always talk about?
And
yes, no, on a very serious note. Since I've been here, the radio station here in Monrovia, they're bossing everywhere, and people are talking. But I have not seen any kinds of stuff that CDC will say that I will call putting their foot in the mouth. Well, I mean, if you go on the internet, the president had given promotion to some AFL generals. The president has also gone into other areas where he's doing his duty. And usually when he's doing something, people are praising him. And then other member of CDC, other hierarchy of CDC will do something like to say something different, and I will consider putting their foot in their mouth. I'm not seeing that yet. But of course, you can't bet against CDC. I hope they don't do it this time. I hope they let the president shine and continue to do what he's doing here.
Thank you so much, the Liberal Progressive. Let me go to Malice will carry a point, and we're going to take calls as well from our viewers, our listeners, and before we wrap up. But yeah, Malice, sorry to have been the call were coming from inside Liberia. I just thought of by bringing him to see what he's wanted to say. Go ahead, Malice.
Yeah, I think I would like to take my vehicle back to yesterday forum with senior panelists, Emma George, the issue of arm coming in, something that worrying us, continue to worry the entire country. And this now take me back to this particular issue of Jefferson Koji. My question is that where there is smoke, there is fire. If Jefferson Koji name continue to be associated with extrajudicial killing in that country, my question is, these are some of the things that tarnish the human rights image of a ruling government. So my question now is, why is it that the information minister of the CDC ruling coalition government not even responding to clear some of these things, to disabuse our mind that this guy, he's not a killer? Why? Why is it that the CDC party don't have special press conference on these things to address some of these things around town? Jefferson Koji name is always surrounded with the extrajudicial killing. I don't have the evidence, but I tend to draw some conclusion that something is happening somewhere. And at some point in time in our history, probably the truth will come out. So the issue with Jerome Verdier, the former chairman for the TRC, who is grieving right now over the untimely death of the TRC, which I show will be resurrected very soon in the future. I think if he's holding on to evidence, probably he's waiting for the appropriate time. If he provided evidence right now, probably it will be disputed. Probably he could be implicated. But if we have a name that is ringing bell in Liberia that is associated with extrajudicial killing, and there is no explanation, there is no press conference for the incumbent government to tell us what's going on, obviously, all hands will always be pointed at the Lord Mayor until he can come out to clear the air.
So let me ask you before I go back to the panelists.
Yes.
And folks, for those of you listening, the number is here. The number is here, 682-433-8802. It's the number to call. The number is also available via WhatsApp, just in case you are outside of US. He said maybe he has something and he's holding it on to his chest and waiting for proper government or whatever it is. Do you think you, as Malice Jones, if you manage to obtain a document here that for some reason directly or indirectly calls for destabilizations of the country, do you think you're going to hold fast to that document until the action has been perfected? Or what do you do? He said maybe he has something and he's holding it on to his chest. Call out, you got to lower your monitor because we are getting a feedback. 717 number. Are you there? I will come to you, Mali. Let's hear from our viewers, listeners as well. 717 number 5723. Good morning or good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, what's your name and where are you calling from?
This is James calling from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Let's hear from you quickly, Davis.
Yeah, my question to the panelists is that in Liberia, everything is Jefferson Koji. And sometimes when you go explain, you don't explain better. Like what happened between the question they're asking today about his deputy, that deputy carrying gun, you say he can't explain. And you blame justice minister, and the justice minister is saying that the city mayor, the city police, they are not allowed to carry bullet vests and whatsoever up or armed with them when he went to the Capitol building. So is this another wrong allegation when they're accusing him because he get armed on him to go harass people around? Making people to fear, putting fear in people all over the place. The city mayor moving with that kind of armed group behind him, pick up folk. And this CDC got on the tape. He's not looking at all that one. Putting fear in the report in the people in Liberia. He's not looking at it. You go Nima. He carry the thinking there. He carry a lot of armed men in there. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We allow views and opinion to be expressed. Whatever said on this network here is not a voice of the Liberia Public Radio, but we do facilitate these high-call conversations. Mali Jones, I was just asking a question before the caller came. Yes. Do you think as a Liberian, all of us, no matter, you don't necessarily have to be in high-profile positions. If you hear anything, see anything about your country that doesn't sound right, and you decide to withhold or just hold on to that information because it's an assumption that when you put it out there, nothing will know about it. I am in the United States here. If for any reason I do not confide in the government, well, there are so many sources, so many outlets I can channel and my job is to put it out there and let the people make a decision out of it. I can release it to Associated Press. It can be given to Al Jazeera, the Washington Post, New Yorkers, and all of that. And let it be out there. Do you think you alone deserve should hold on to that because you and only you is more of Liberian than any of us?
Well, given the current political atmosphere in Liberia right now, my answer would be yes. Given the current political atmosphere in Liberia right now, where law and order, where the tenor of democracy is not even respected, where evidences of other killings up to today, even the auditor issue, these are all suspicious cases. So if I were Jerome and the position he's taking, I will hold those evidences to my chest and wait for the appropriate day where this government, maybe in the next government, can be dragged to court on the basis of the evidence. But for now, I'm going to hold on to those evidences for now.
So then what happens when you hold on to them and this government is re-elected for the next 6 years? But hold on 1 second. Let's hear from some of our listeners and followers. 267-9958. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, how you doing? My name is Henry Brisbane.
Welcome. Good evening, Brother Henry. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, first of all, let me say thank you for this wonderful program. I appreciate you so much. I called to buttress this identical man I just called. He was very arrogant on the city mayor. I don't think so. I just want him to know that if somebody is very popular, this is what happened to you. And what I noticed about our Liberian polity, they don't want to see any good youth coming up. Because our parents did it. I remember when my father was in LEC as a deputy managing director for LEC, he facing that same problem. He facing it to the extent that every time I was trouble between my dad and Doe. So what's the problem with Jefferson Kochi? When I heard Verdier talking, I just think of my father straight. Why every little thing those guy will bring it? Oh, we will be sleeping in the night. We'll see armed people surround our house. Say, oh, the men are in the house. When you look, my father will come up. So the people got to stop the kind of things in Liberia. They got to stop it. Many of we watch your thing, we witness it. And it causes chaos for us today. I got my kids here today. Do you think they happen to go to Liberia? That's trouble. Because everyone of them I know the story, I explain the story to them, sir, it will be a problem for Liberia. Because many of we fear it because of lie. Thank you.
So you see it as a what? A hate or something?
I see it as a hate. So I see it as a hate. It's almost like you. You're one of the best.
Are there other things? Are there other things that you think he needs to maybe provide much clarification as well as to why his name always being brought? Do you think he has done enough to address these issues?
Actually, I believe he has done enough. I believe people trying to imitate it and they can't make it. And this is what happens when you're good and you're smart. You know how to talk to kids. This is what happens. This man is a people person, and this is why I hate no guys. They don't know how to mingle themselves around the people, and this guy know how to mingle himself around the people. This guy know how to mingle himself around the market with me. When you go put coat suit and tie on, you think you're gonna make it through the market? Coach, you go there, and you see those women children running. Coach. So you know how many years we get for to take our coaching from in Liberia? We get over 30 more years.
30 years.
Yes, I'm telling you, 30 years before coaching need move. No, President, we are need.
Why 30 years? When you could live more than 30 years.
Hold on, guys.
Why 30 years when you could live more than 30 years?
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, Jonathan, relax.
Are you saying 30 years as city mayor or 30 more years?
No, I mean 30 years to erase the need.
Oh.
Jefferson Kochi, to erase that need for the Liberian polity.
Okay,
because
thank you so much.
The youth in favor of him.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
Let's go to Baltimore area and get this call, and I'm going to get back. I think we need to get the feedback from our guys as well. 443 number 0321. Good evening, caller. What's your name?
Good morning, Mr. Good evening, Mr. So, and to the rest of the panelists.
Okay, I hear you.
This is Mr. Mawolo calling from Maryland.
Yes, let's hear from you.
Look, listen, I listened to the bombacity of CZ and those who have problems with the assertion by Jerome Verdier. It made me laugh because people always asking for proof for things that are highly security matters. You would never get proof on security matters unless you take it to court, where they will have to do it under oath. You could cut their throat, they won't show you the proof, because that's why it's high security. If somebody come out and say things, you got to be listening for certain things. This man was precise. He called names. He said when. He said how. You can't disavow such information. You don't have, I don't know what you call proof. But when somebody becomes specific, it tells you something. The second thing you got to relay it to is look at the response from the accused. Where was the deputy chief of police, city police this morning when he made his something? What was the answer he gave about it? Look, there are too many things happening in the country, and deductive reasoning, even if you don't have a security mind.
So, Maulo,
deductive reason, yes.
So let's have a little bit of conversation here. We all have a shared responsibility when it comes to the country and how we throw out things here. I'm a free thinker here. Talking about court, he said he has his proof, he has the evidence, he has everything here. Who should take this case to court now?
No, he accused somebody. If the government feel accused, they feel he lied, let them sue him.
No, I don't think.
When I
think the
listen, the government can do it because their job is to protect the country, to clear their name with the populace of Liberia. You need to sue the person who accused you on a national security matter, if you know it's a lie. And then he will be pulled from wherever he is to come and prove it.
Mawolota, I think I have a different version here. Jefferson Koji is a mayor. Jefferson Koji does not necessarily represent the height of the government as the government of the Republic of Liberia. He can be dismissed today. He can be dismissed tomorrow. So if a member of the are you saying if a member of a government is if anybody is accused in government, the government should go after that? Is that how the government
if an official of government, just like if they told George Weah that Jefferson Koji was planning a coup d'etat, would they wait for Jefferson Koji to explain stuff? If this person who told them was credible, they will fire him, they will arrest him, and they will deal with him straight away. Okay? It's the same thing. If an official of government is accused, highly accused on a national security issue as this, which could even cause turmoil in the country, get with the country that that person resides in and file a lawsuit. That's the only way you can clear the air with your people who you're supposed to be protecting. That's the way to keep peace. But you don't sit down, don't answer the question, and just say, oh, the man lying on my knee. Too many things are happening. Adolph Lawrence, up to today, do you know who the truck driver was?
Hold on 1 second. We got.
Do you know who the truck owner was?
Yeah, I come in. Truck. Hold on. Let me put this other caller. Then I will go back to my panelists here. Let's see here. Let's hear from this number here, 507 number 6257. Good morning.
Hello?
Or good evening.
Yeah, good evening. This is Lassana from Minnesota.
Let's hear from you, Lassana.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about what happened with Koji, but I little bit got different with the individual that Jerry Verdier named. I was so surprised to know that Verdier, from my new dust to dust, plus a manus, that the government can easily feel brave and get an arm to that man. And I know that man very good. He's a very dangerous man.
You know him?
He's a countryman, Verdier. From Bakedu. From Ilimbo. To law forces, from law forces, he switched to become an ATU. And I know how he demonstrated.
Wow.
In Bukati.
So let me ask you here a little bit with your information you're taking face value. How long has he been in the security? He was in the ATU. How long you think you've been there?
In the ATU during the law forces coming to Liberia, he was one of the good commanders that were controlling the bombing hill there. Because he used to have a special troop that used to wear the yellow t-shirt. They used to call them Manos Plus. Ask anybody, the law forces there in Monrovia, say who they used to call Verdier. That man used to capture people on the street. In their community, say it directly on the front line. He used to move a cuckoo daily. So he's my countryman. If I lie on him, God will pay me. But Verdier should not hold an arm in Liberia. Even own an arm.
Wow.
Yeah, Verdier, he's a dangerous guy. I'll be honest. Verdier is a dangerous guy. So I don't know why the Liberal government, even I'm not saying he did it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he did it or have evidence of him doing it. I'm saying he's not supposed to hold arm in Liberia. For what I know.
Knowing why you know
For
of
what
him.
I know. Yeah, especially from the government side. He can hold arm for any other security setup, but not from the government. What I know is very tell off. Dust to dust. No, you can't do that. Yeah, it's just like the other guy that passed away 30 times ago in Monrovia. All of them fall in the same line. So, no, not Jiba. Other call.
So, yeah, I mean, these are good pieces of information. This is why we allow you to speak here. So,
yeah, the guy is a dangerous guy. I'm not saying he should not work the other sector, but not the government. The government should not get that man out. That was wrong on the government. I'm not believing him to say he did it, but the government look at the man's character and look at what the man do in Liberia. Nobody should get that man out in Liberia there. Yeah. Yeah, I know him in person. I talked to him in person. I know some of his terrorists. So it's not somebody that get here, but I know Verdier. Any Madingo boy, tell the Verdier dust to door, they'll say, yeah, I know that guy. So I don't know where the government get him. I don't know. I can't even believe it that the government was brave to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we do here.
Okay. Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying. So look at these kind of people. The other guy who is his principal bodyguard, they said that guy was involved in the fighting in Ivory Coast. He was one of the main factors in the Ivory Coast. You got those people with you.
Yeah, that guy, Verdier, in fact, Verdier move with mosquitoes. There are mosquitoes. That's the Verdier man in there. If you compare mosquito movement, just compare Verdier right there. Cuckoo Dennis, yes? Those guys know Verdier well. So they should know what they're doing, man. They should know what they do. I'm not saying he did it, but even my dead body can't get onto that guy.
Okay.
I know you're gonna damage stuff.
All right, thank you so much. Mamlo, look, yeah, for us, sometimes we do it here the unusual way, not the usual way people know. And that's why we give people the opportunity to express. But I'm not going to hear something and draw a conclusion. It's also equivalent of anybody who doesn't know me can say anything and run a judgment. But when we hear these things, we take them.
You don't necessarily have to draw a conclusion, but you don't have to throw it away. You got to open your eyes. That's what it's about.
No.
Open your eyes and ears.
No,
yeah.
But we're having the conversations. I'm not playing blind eyes to it. And that's why I gave the young man the opportunity.
Okay. No, I mean,
I'm just going to say, listen,
was saying he was so bombastic about it, as if he had any proof himself.
Citizen left that country. I was saying, you know what happened?
Mr. So, and what he is working with the U.S. government while he's here.
Mr. So,
is under constant surveillance.
What we need to understand,
Mr. So,
yeah,
Mr. So, I beg you, please.
Nigeria is under constant surveillance.
Let me just say something. Let me just say something.
Here, so.
Hold on one
second. They will show it to who they want to see. Show it to when it's time. They will let it out. But these people keep a whole lot of records, and you have to be in their cycle or in high security for them to even show it to you. I've seen it. I studied this stuff, and I know what I'm talking about because these people, they will keep records for years. And when they're ready, they pounce on you. We see Stanton Witherspoon as a common example. Since 2018, he never knew that they were behind, but they got records. And that's how they are.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mr. So, can I just say something before you bring the other guys in, please?
Yeah, no, who's that? No, I'm coming.
Wilton.
Yeah, I'm coming to Panelists. Now, are you on the phone or you?
Yeah, I'm in my car, so I turned the video up. I just put on the dock, so I'll be on the.
Oh, Okay, let me just make. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. What on? Oh. Yeah, go
Are you
ahead.
there? I'm listening to the pop, right? So let's just assume, hypothetically, let's just assume that I am a lawyer or I'm a public speaker, like I'm contributing to like Real Public Radio, and I said yesterday that Yeke Koluba was the one that carried on the attack. I know Yeke Koluba from Burma during the war. I know how Yeke Koluba killed people. I know how Yeke Koluba served in the police force in Liberia after our war as a police officer after killing a lot of people. If I come and say those things today to you, will you the man who just was talking, not Cisse, Jonathan and the other people, will you take my word for it? Because now the lady who horse was attacked, the lady is still alive. She is not dead. The lady, her own mob, they force her, they put her under no tension. She said the person that came to my house, that people that are hired to do mason work at my house, one of them stay in the house. Now, if the attacker came face to face with a woman, and the woman put pepper spray in your eye, are you telling me?
In the police report?
In the police report, you're not following the thing. I can produce that document tonight so you can read it to us here. The woman said it, and y'all come here and listen to a pathological liar called Verdier, and y'all want us to believe it? As educated as you people are, that's why I say it is evil.
I will try that, Jabber.
Okay.
Can you come in, sir?
Hold on
Can
one
you
second.
come in, sir?
Hold on 1 second. I have another call here. We got to take something. Let me go to 610 number.
I hope we'll be coming with more time.
Keto, hold on, guys. Hold on 1 second. Let's hear from you. 610-3593. Are you there? What's your name and where are you calling from? Okay, the person got. Okay, Maulot, 30 seconds before I think other callers coming in. Go ahead quickly.
Yeah, all I'm saying, in the state that Liberia is in right now, you can't trust anything. And nobody is saying that anybody should take somebody's word for law and gospel. What we're saying is that when you hear things, instead of dismissing it, open your ears and open your eyes and watch the scenario. He's the only one who heard it. Because Gloria Scott has not said anything since yesterday to say who the person looked like or who the person doesn't look like. She said she saw the person, and she was not the person who sprayed the person with the pepper spray. It was the lady that is stabbed to death. Now you got to be clear on these things.
Okay, hold on one
There's
second.
too many.
Okay, I got to hold on 1 second. There are a lot of phone calls here. Please lower your monitors here.
You got to.
Johnson, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing?
Okay, please lower your monitors. I have on the line from UK, Roosevelt Johnson Jr., also with I have a security background. Okay, Mr. Johnson, good morning.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good morning to everyone on the panel over there.
Okay.
I'm calling from London. For those of you who know me, I'm Roosevelt Johnson Jr. Well, my intake will be on these issues tonight will be that, I think Liberians, we are good in pointing fingers, and I don't take side because of my background. Well, I suggest that we should, leave this investigation with the government, or we should probably give it to an independent body to probably carry on proper investigations before we can start pointing fingers. Because we start pointing fingers, I don't think we're going to get proper. We will not have the proper, intake of what this whole thing's about. But if we continue to, point fingers at this person did it or that person did it, and we Liberians will continue to carry such thing like that, because as long as you say Ms. John Brown have done this, that means the entire body going to carry it. So the best thing is to do is to leave with the government to carry on the investigations or hire an independent body to carry on what is going in Liberia. But pointing finger, I don't think it's a good thing for us to continue to do in Liberia to move our country forward.
But quickly here, let me hear from you, from your background, based on the information coming out from the former TRC chairpersons, his narrative, his information to provide us more or less seems to be According to him, he has everything to his chest. Should we take that as a face value to
No,
convince him?
actually, when you look at what he's seen and what I have been monitoring him a lot of time, I think his intention is based on party base. It's based on probably personal issues with the government. So if someone have issues or if someone have a criminal case, I think you should continue to hold that investigation. You can't just put it out. The first thing you do, you properly investigate it. Just 24 hours, something happens. I can't just come and say this person did it or that person have done it. So what you do first in these kind of circumstances, you try to investigate it first. Try to go down into it deeper. You don't do it because you have a personal problem with that person. So I would advise his decision making that the government did and this person pointing finger on Kochi and other person, I think is wrong. Even if Kochi have done it, or even if anybody within the government have done it, it's just 24 hours. Come on, how can you carry an investigation in that 24 hours? When you look at this Waterson case in the States, as someone said in the Parliament, it's been going on since 2019. You can run proper investigations before you can accuse someone of crime such being committed. You can't do that. You can't do that. So he has to carry investigation, proper investigation first before you can accuse someone of crimes that is being committed. You can't keep just 24 hours and just like pointing fingers and accusing this person and that person. I think it's wrong. You can't do that.
So in real time, in real world, when this happened, what does that suggest? What is the advantage or disadvantage that is being put into an independent investigation?
I think the advantage, the disadvantage here is that the disadvantage here is that with this case, the person who is bringing out saying that the government have done it or this person have done it, there must be some motive behind it. If you have that's all I just said. If you have an independent body who will go in and investigate these matters, a lot of cases been going on happening in Liberia. Just what happened in Granger last time, our brother that got missing. I said it. You need some independent body to investigate it. Because probably you would think that if the government carry on their proper investigation, you would think when the government come with the findings and when they come and say, oh no, this is what happened, other people would think that the government is trying to, sideline the issues. But if you have an independent body investigating these cases, the criminal cases and murder that go on in Liberia, definitely we'll find facts. We'll definitely find facts.
Okay.
But as Liberians, we should not continue to point fingers. Just 24 hours, you said this person done is wrong. You can't do that.
Let me see
in any
here.
cases.
Hold on 1 second. I'm getting a call from Liberia. Let me see what we can bring here. This is quite interesting here. I'm not sure. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. So.
Yeah.
Good morning to the panelists.
Yeah, good morning. Let's hear from you. You're up at this hour in Liberia. What's going on? What we need to know? Any breaking news there?
Well, I was just listening to your show, and Mr. So, we should not play politics with somebody deaf.
Who is this?
Yeah, please call your name, please.
I'm Philip Joe, calling from Monrovia.
Philip Joe, calling from Monrovia. Go ahead, Philip.
Yeah, it's not good to play politics with someone deaf, especially when the person are grieving and what have you. But I see in Liberia, as people try to score political goal. According to one of your panelists, the lady who is involved said she came in contact with her attacker, and she know the person. Why are we looking around accusing Jefferson Kochi and other people that they are involved into this gruesome death of this young potential Liberian that have just died? I will first of all condemn the act by going to someone's resident and just killing them is condemnable, and I condemn it to the strongest term. But we should not play politics with it. If Jerome Verdier and others want to gain political relevance, they should not do it at the expense of someone who have just died and who have been grieving. Like, for instance, the issue of Alfred Donner in Granger there. People will come and say, his own brother carried him to do medicine in the bush to the herbalist. And he got disappeared from between the two brothers. But now people, instead of looking at the reality, they started accusing people who are way in Monrovia to be part of it. Have you heard from these people that say, yes, this is my brother I carry, and this is the person who gave me the instruction? No, we have not heard anything like that. Those gentlemen that are involved, including the heavily inside, they are still in jail and they are paying a court trial. The lady have come and said, look, someone I know, I got these people, according to a panelist, and I know one of them, and I came in contact with them. Let's see how the government can arrest this person or that person that the lady have called, and let the person say, yes, was Major Koji or the person that sent me. Then, of course, we can maybe accuse Major Koji. But in the absence of that, I mean, I see it as people trying to school political goal.
Okay, but you know the tradition.
But instead, people will, Mr. Soldier, give me a chance. People will go in on the social media, insult the president, insult the entire country, and they say they are popular, they are scoring political goal, and people heal them for that. Why other countries don't do it? That, for instance, today's Nigeria election, and 2 days ago, one of the senatorial candidates was ambushed and killed instantly. Are we saying Nigeria is not saved? Or are you saying that even the great United States, where you are, where they got all the sophistication, are you saying there's no killing going on in America? There are. So we should not just look and say, look, the government is not doing this. There are a lot of constraints this government also going through. There are a lot of constraints. Let's all try to see that ORC there, that donates to government functionaries, see whether they will not function. I can tell you for free, Mr. So, the police commander of Grand Gila County do not have a vehicle right now. They got only one motorbike. Can you imagine that? So if things happen, how do we expect the police to move faster? I'm not giving the scenario in Monrovia, but I'm specifically talking about Grand Gila because that which I know of specifically, that the commander do not have a vehicle, and other police will have a vehicle. So if something happens, you got to go look around for people's vehicle, and then before they can go on the crime scene.
What's about 1 minute? 1 minute. 1 minute. What's about? 1 minute. What's about?
Yeah, Philip. No, Roosevelt gone. Quickly, do you think this other accusation? Do you think it would be a turning point that the government will take million steps to make sure that this come to a full conclusion? Because there's an other side of the coin that, okay, these things happen, other things happen, and the conclusion aspect to these cases, murder cases, is just being inconclusive. It leaves the apprehensions and people fill in those vacuums to make a judgment. Do you think this time around the government will break the ice?
Well, I'm not going to speak for the government, Mr. So, but sometimes if you look at the reality, they are crystal clear on the ground. And it is also left with you as an institution, media institution, to have your men posted and see how they can collect some of this information to get it over to you. And one thing I noticed in Liberia is that news will come and then it will go like wildfire. But after a certain time, it will quiet down and no journalist will go after it and say, look, I'm going to see to the bottom of the thing to see whether this is true or not. At the end of the day, it will just die down.
Thank you
so some of these things, it's left with an institution to send people out there to see how best they can do the investigation. But for accusing Jefferson Koji at this time, I don't think it was timely for Verdier to say such a thing. I know we have seen that in the past. If people want to get at you, they will say all kinds of things about you. If they are jealous of you and want to be like you,
just call directly to your phone instead of creating a black smoke on the screen. Okay, thank you so much, Phil. The frustration is sometimes you reach out to these government officials, even it happens both sides, government, opposition, people in authority, and they choose where to go because they want to get their way through. They are selective. Our job is to reach out. They respond. They don't respond. It's up to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. So.
Okay. All right. 405, go ahead. I want to go back. Are you there? What's your name and where are you calling from? I just want to...
Mr. So, good evening and good evening to the panel. This is Ibrahim calling from Oklahoma.
Let's hear from you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. So. Thank you. First of all, I want to condemn the act committed against the former Chief Justice, Gloria Muzuska, and the young lady loss of life in the incident. from the police, for her statement that she gave to the police. And she hired some people to do some construction work in her yard. And later in the day, she saw this guy, the other guy, those that she hired, confused in the yard, confused. Apparently, when they were leaving, this guy hid himself in the yard or in the house, and she had 3 private security guys at her house. So every one of us that trying to politicize this thing, trying to score a political goal. And if even somebody have attacked her or attempt, going into her yard, and this time around call people to do some construction in your yard. So the police will come again and tell us, oh no, don't invite anybody to do some work in your yard. That's her house, that's her home. You understand what I'm saying? So if anywhere outside of the gate, the fence, there was no ladder on the fence to climb, there was nothing around. So that thing might have been an in-house thing. So I don't want for people to come and put this out, the government did not do things. Hey man, we all are in this society, man. America is a great country. The great New York City get one of the best police force in the world. But broad daylight in the presence of police crime have been committed in New York City. So are we saying that New York not safe? That what are we saying?
Thank you so much.
No.
All right. Okay, let me go back.
Those opposition guys are drowning. That is fun, different thing I'm talking about. That is
man, the boy opposition better, man. Man.
You see, that's
Mr. Comey, man. Mr. Comey.
Y'all got Maniski report. I can't do funny about it. They can't tell me opposition better.
Okay, you see, that's the problem we have. The country is so polarized. So
yes, polarized
but let me thank you so much. Let me go back to my panelists. Okay, folks, there you have it. So let me bring this video here. That was, of course, that statement, like what he's saying, the police were making his thing, but Madam Scott herself. But that was the first time when she herself spoke during the visit of the former Solicitor General and Presidential Hopeful, Councilor Tiawanse Gongo. Let's listen to this. Hold on one second. Sorry. Who's back from the audio section? Let's see. I think this is the first.
Thank you for coming. Going so long. We go way back. Way back. And because we go way back, there's one question since last night. We asked, what have I done? Maybe you all can tell me something. For people to be so bold and crazy and fearless. I'm not running for president in 2023. I'm not running for vice president as far as I know. I'm not running for senator in 2023. I'm not running for member of the House of Representatives in 2023. I'm not running for chairman of a party. I'm not running for any position in the hierarchy of any political party. I consider myself not harmful to anybody who is seeking these offices. So what have I done for the persistence? For this persistence. The skill I have as a lawyer is not unique to me. It's not unique to me. The cases I work on is a team of lawyers. It's a team of lawyers. So it tells me there is something. would like to know what happens. Those of you who care for me,
Okay.
you don't ask the question.
There you go. That's honest appeal questions why I have done. You can see the grief, and perhaps maybe she needs more explanation. We don't know all of the details. We don't know how the police going to handle this one from all the other cases, and this is where sometimes the frustration comes in, and people fills in those gaps, which is also a dangerous thing to do, because investigation must be concluded, we must know the doer, and we shouldn't just start it and then leave it in the middle and expect that you're going to go down well with the public. Is there any reasons, any of you on this panel, that we will believe at this time around we're going to get to the bottleneck, to the bottom line of this? I'm not sure who are those the police talking to. We did place a call to Moses Carter, but again, these are high-profile things, and at their own will and pleasure, they speak to this, to this sort of issue. Is anybody having in mind that we're going to reach a full conclusion to know exactly what happens, why it is true they were contracted? Has anybody been apprehended? Anybody providing any much deeper information to investigators that we do not know? Are they doing that? And if they are doing it, at the end of the day, we'll come. What I don't want us to do, and people, listeners, viewers, is to incite their emotions into this thing here, and I make a circumstantial guess. Because I know the country is divided, the country is polarized. Everybody protecting their own alligator. That's the fact, whether they like it or not. I listened to the caller, and my other friend called from my Baltimore area here, and other people say here, you listen to it. Okay, if you can have Spring Johnson as a senator, if you can have George Bulley as a representative, and the list goes on and on, if you can have all of those people, so why you think this person can be there? So it means we started screwing up from day one, and we keep screwing up. And this is why we are looking for the new Liberia. Unlike Sierra Leone, the country Sierra Leone they never rewarded any of their warlords. But in Liberia, we did the unimaginable thing, the unbelievable thing. We did something that the world have never seen. We sang song, you killed my pa, you killed my ma, I will vote for you. And BBC correspondents give a full description. The country is heading in a direction with like a people on a ship with unknown technicians. What they were talking about is this day that we are having this sort of conversation now. So people inciting their emotions, and our job is to ask all of the questions. I'm not here to convey people because you are in a sympathetic man because you are sedition or you're liberty party or no, that nonsense. I'm not here for it. We need to have an honest conversation, hold all accountable, because we are the same very people. We are protected of this individual. When they are with us today, it's okay. When they go to the other person, then verdict is handed down. I don't think that's how we want to go a decision. But the question now becomes, gentlemen, will the government take a different approach to put this to a rest once and for all? And I'm saying Councillor Verdier is a very reputable person. He presided over a consequential process in Liberia. So things coming from him, we will give it a credence for his status. Or is there anything more that he can do for us to see that, yes, information that he's providing, they are all authentic?
Okay, let me start, Pacho. The error in it. There were several calls that were made, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And with the different analysis. Let it be established that in my conversation, I mentioned the section of Councillor Verdier, meaning it was not fact, there was not proof or evidence. It needs to be looked into. But I'm concerned about a few things here very quickly. I'm concerned about motive. This lady publicly told Liberians in the world that attempts have been made on her. The police admitted to a public pronouncement. She went to the police station and placed a complaint. This thing happened It in Brewerville area, Brewerville police station. I live Brewerville. It's not that far, and police will not be made available after 2 hours, as it is said. My thing here is, I'm not in a place to make judgment. That's not my area. I don't have responsibility. I don't have facts associated, so I can't make judgment. But let me let other people know that bad governance is or bad democracy is associated with overnight killing. If you listen to Idris of Nigeria, he sang Nigeria Jaga Jaga. And robber go to your hall, they don't take money, they don't rape your wife, they only murder you. That's how they operate. So, what do we expect of our government? When Alexander said of the LMP police, who was a commander in Great Jida County on an early arrested those people who were alleged of overthrowing, was murdered, and his brother have an account on radio. What happened to Ada, who was with the president and got murdered, and his intake came on air and said that the EPS director, who used to stop to her, normally because of a family friend, no longer stopped to her. What is the investigation? The 3 boys. So, using ex-fighter as mentioned in a Manisky report that the president of the Republic of Liberia should give confidence to our economy and our and the politics of our country, have refused vehemently and deliberately. Those are things that are value to our democracy. Why the president and agents cannot write the Treasury Department for them to furnish them with information and expert as to lead the way for the investigation. What happens to the COP, CDC, folks who ransack people in public glare at the U.S. Embassy as we speak? Look, I will just end up with this. I listened to Sheikh Ibrahim Sakor. Now, this is not Jerome Verdier. This is an NSA agent.
Yeah, we are working hard to see if we can have him here.
Thank you. This is an NSA agent who was friendly with WIA, who brought money to WIA campaign and saw that WIA would be elected as a president. Today, they have fell off. He went further to say that even the auditor's death was orchestrated. My question to my brother Cecil Goya, and I'm not saying that Koji did it. All I'm saying that it requires investigation. But where do we trust the government to investigate and bring proper findings to all? Had they done one before that will be convinced? Because past performance will make judgment for future performance. So I'm saying to all of us on the platform and those who are listening, do we all believe that the auditors had they died naturally, or were they murdered? And if that question, the answer to that question is that they were murdered, and the report is a contradiction, then this portion, this delicate situation requires information. To lastly, in the police report that I have on this film here, the police report had that quoted Madam Gloria Mutuska. Madam Gloria Mutuska is suspicious of a person. Somebody to harm you in that manner and form, you cannot just identify them, but she has been suspicious of the person and their movement. So if you are suspicious of this person, and then police she has said it in public, and then police took 2 hours, police never went to a former chief justice or a former senator or former acting National Elections Commission or former Constitutional Review Committee person. They didn't listen to her. What do you think would be doing?
Let's leave it there. I intend not to open a special jurisdiction here into this here, but your analysis, these are all value points. This is why we always like to have this sort of open conversation. The challenge now is to GOL, where would this be a different one here? We waiting to see. We don't like to place Verdier. Amos George.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate something different than all the other ones outlined by Jonathan, or the Jonathan left? Anything that you want to add?
I don't even want to go that far. I will wait and see. Now, let me say this. As for Councilor Verdier, I said with open mind. Every information you get, you approach it with an open mind. You're not running a decision. People sometimes don't understand these things. The judge jumped that you finding this person guilty, no. Investigating, you have to listen to all sides. You have to sift the things. He came up with this, a session 24 hours. I can't say, oh, it's trash. I don't want to listen to it. No, you listen to it. Look at the other information that coming up. You look at it too. But yeah, what I want to say, we do not take stock of what happened in Liberia. We're certain people.
You have a session.
Jefferson Kochi, I see a lot of people calling here saying Jefferson Kochi this and that. But lot of retrospect. What happened with Jefferson Kochi at that election in Barnesville?
District 13, District 13.
District 13.
Corridor Cry.
What happened to Jefferson Kochi when you're a leading group of men to Dara Dillon when Dara Dillon won his election? What happened to the university students?
So okay, hold on 1 second. Let's just
when people say, I heard some people are envy of Jefferson Kochi, but all these things you see Jefferson Kochi track record of this behavior. I'm not saying he did this or he's connected to the crime. No, but people are trying to portray him as a very peaceful man. People just go to accuse him. But look at the instances of Jefferson Kochi in Monrovia. Such type of violence. When he used to talk about flesh and blood, would defend the country with their blood and sweat. They had to caution him to stop. So when I hear people say, oh, people just envy the young man, no. There is something about Jefferson Kochi, especially about violence. And I can go on to name them, give you instances.
Okay.
So I don't want people to think that people just hate Jefferson Kochi. No, but there are things when you do, they associate with you. And until Jefferson Kochi can convince me that he's not that character. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Let me just go on again. So I will leave you. The statement that Keta is inside that bureaucracy, I have not heard Gloria Scott granting any interview where she said the man who came to do the work slept in the hall, he was the one that did it. I have not seen that statement from Gloria Scott. The only time I saw her speaking when Councilor Gonglo was there.
That was, I think, that was a police version of the story.
The police report, I don't know whether the police just quoted her saying that the men were hiding in the house of them. She said extreme movement. And it's not a fact that she said there's one reported in 3 times at her home have been attempted. Was it with the same person or what? So
okay,
you people have to learn how we judge, how we come to the conclusion. I didn't say that.
Okay, George, let's leave it there. We are almost 45 minutes after the time. Let me go to Malice Jones and Sissy will close it up because we are already out of time here. John Malice.
Yes, sir.
Are you willing to serve as a chief prosecutor to go into this case if we were to send you to gather all associated with this ongoing investigation? Let's hear from you quickly.
Well, yes and no. First, I want to begin by extending my unconditional condolences to the former Chief Justice for the demise of her little daughter under such circumstances. But what I saw from the video you just showed, Mr. Moderator, it's like the Chief Justice is creating a picture, or she tried to portray a scenario like this killing or the attack on her is politically motivated. This is the scenario she's creating.
You're changing your tone, your story based on what?
No, you just show a video.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about your prior statement because you didn't see that video. So your statement, your tone now sound like the Chief Justice is creating a political drama.
No, I'm not creating a political drama. I'm drawing from the scenario I just saw that she painting a picture as though this thing is politically motivated. I think that's where she's really coming from. Yes. So I was a bit taken by surprise. I thought she was really going to go into the narrative of this thing. Yes. So I think we have to wait and ground arm and gave her the time to really go into detail. But from what I saw, the little clip you just showed, Mr. Moderator, it seems to be she creating the picture of that this thing is political.
Yeah, I've been reviewing that, and my mind went into
then
considering
lastly, our brothers who coming on the phone and saying that we are accusing Jefferson Koji. I just want to make it clear here. We as panelists and contributor on this platform, we have obligation to be objective. We are under obligation to expel subjectivity on this platform.
Is that possible?
Yes, we can. We are here to expel subjectivity. We cannot be subjective on this platform. We got to be objective. And objective mind will always follow where the evidence leads rather than follow speculation. So that will make the panelists different from those who are watching the show. Then the next thing on Jefferson Koji. There are a whole lot of scenario going on in Liberia pointing to Jefferson Koji. But I just want to state this. When Dorsey's power in the 80s, and he brought in Major General Grady Allison, he was considered to be one of the most powerful men in the Doe government. And there was a rumor all over the place that he was dealing with human blood. And people disputed that in Liberia all over the place. Behold, in the year 1989, the Major General Grady Allison and his wife were accused, and the evidence was there for killing police officer Melvin Pine. That was a ritual killing. And they were accused and they were sentenced. So the thing that happening with Jefferson Koji, the panelists will not draw a conclusion, but will have all right to analyze what is going on and looking back in history and bringing him into the future. I yield.
Okay, Sister Goya.
Yeah. Okay. I was already about to sleep. I heard Jonathan call my knee, so I had to.
Oh Lord, you are not about to sleep. You are not about to sleep.
I don't want to allow stuff to sit in the ethos, because these ANC guys have a way of having stuff to sit in the ethos and percolate, and then they get a life of its own. The first piece here is, while waiting to respond, I heard my own old man, who is a former police officer, insinuating that Jefferson Koji should prove to him that he's innocent. When it comes to Koji, things have to be turned around.
Hold on 1 second. Let him to do his friends. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
He said Koji got to show him that he's innocent. So when it comes to Jefferson Koji in Liberia, the laws are different. That he's guilty until proven innocent. We can't be talking about trying to have the rule of law in Liberia and yet still be deciding what laws applies to who. I am not a fan of the CDC, and all of you know that. I'm not a fan of Joseph Atamakoji, and all of you know that. But what I would now do is to sit down and make an insinuation to castigate somebody's reputation on heinous crimes that I got no proof of. I was emphatically clear when I came up and said Councillor Jerome Verdier's statement was irresponsible, and I still stand by that. Because the reason is, to whom much is given, much is expected. Councillor Jerome Verdier led a TRC investigation that came up with the findings that some of us beat our chests and say, yes, this is what we should go by. We should hold these people that have been caught up by the TRC, they should be held responsible. And Councillor Jerome Verdier is doing much damage to that work by utterances like these. That he sits on a platform barely 48 hours after a murder has happened in the capital and accuses somebody and then says he has evidence, but he doesn't trust the system in Liberia to release that evidence, but he's going to withhold the evidence and yet accuse people. These things have the propensity to undermine the work that a lot of his other people that work with him put in to do the work of the TRC. That was irresponsible. That was ignoble, and he owes Jefferson Koji an apology and the Liberian people, and I still stand by that. And
who they caught down? Who they caught down? That fella coming from?
Hold on, man. Hold on. Jolake can try to spin it to all around he wants to. The same thing When we started talking here, when the ANC killed the elephant that they didn't want to eat, they went away from. And I'm talking about the Louis Brown and the Daniel Chair issue. When
Louis Brown and Daniel Chair won't walk on court.
When
So
people
don't go to court.
I'll pick on you back. The ANC thing, I know you're keeping CDC, I can get people a chance to talk. I beg you, just wear your mask and sit down. When we were talking about when people were accusing what's his name, Louis Brown, of committing crimes, you on this platform said you should provide a proof. Why would he say, oh, no, the people can hold a proof? We got to go to court to provide proof. You see, so they're cherry picking. Y'all got to stop it. We can love our political leaders. We can say the other political parties are not doing well, but what we do not have a right to do is to make up stuff and sit down and try to decide what measure we're going to judge other people, and those same measures don't apply to us. That was not right. That is not fair. If Jerome Verdier has facts to lay out, I would be the one person to come on this platform and castigate Mayor Koji. Yes, Mayor Koji is wrong for having the likes of Valley in his entourage. Mayor Koji is wrong for having people that have committed crimes in Liberia per the TRC report for holding arms. That is a fact. But that is a huge jump to say because that is happening. Therefore, it was Koji who then orchestrated the murder of the daughter of the Chief Justice. I think that's a huge leap.
Sese, you are dead wrong. If Koji, let me correct the premise. Listen now. You gotta listen. For somebody to be recruited in the security service, the person should be interviewed. The person should be.
I did not tell you he was right to be in security service. I did not tell you that. I'm telling you that it's a huge jump to then get from there and say, Koji orchestrated or
no, that's not what I'm saying. Hey, don't listen to me. I'm saying it's wrong. It's wrong, Mr. So woman. I'm saying it's wrong to say because the man fought during the rebel time, he should not be in the employ of security. The requirement. I want to correct it. You say it was wrong.
I'm not agreeing that point. I didn't touch that point, but you see. You got your ANC virus again.
You're not listening. You're not listening to what he's saying.
Hold on, guys.
You said to have somebody who can eat a security service was wrong.
I made that statement myself.
Hold on.
He said Valley was wrong to be in the security service. I'm telling you, it's not like that.
This is what happens.
I did not attribute that to you.
I'm saying
you're not listening, my brother.
It doesn't need to be attributed to me. I'm saying that it's wrong.
Control this thing.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm saying that it's wrong.
We're gonna leave it here for today.
Some are associated with security situation. No, Mr.
Hold on. That's what happens for those of you who get a political pick.
No, not political. They were not political. I want to educate you. I want to educate the platform about security recruitment. No, I want to educate about security recruitment. When you go join the police, when you go join the police,
we brought Prince Johnson, the making Senator George Bolle, and other warlords. So as long as the people go through the prerequisite, my assumption, or I believe,
that is not a prerequisite.
You should be trained.
Valid and go to the prerequisite.
You just how all of these people. I don't think we're going to be selective into what I don't want to say a judicial or try to kind of get group of people and say, okay, these people here because they did so action, they can be. When other people are there, when you have other people who were chief facilitator for whatever reason, we forgave them and we politically rewarded them. So what's about those who they are follower? If they were clean too by the security and they were trained and think that they were demobilized for which they can get second chance, then we can give them. But that does not also give them the right that if people give them the second, have a second chance to go back and do this bad thing. Guys, we're going to leave it here this evening to wait and see. My only question, I want to see whether this one will be different from all other investigations that we have been having. That's what we want to see. And in order for us to have a good country now, it's time for us to hold not only the executive, but the first branch of government. You heard one of the caller in a county and you don't even have a police car, motorbike, and when we see the budget, the allotments of other places, how funds is being distributed, when even the Bureau and other part of Moravia, they should have some sort of a detachment. That's how it used to be. You don't have to go call Central. You must maybe call a nearby, depending on the population. And this is why censor, all of these things we are talking is so important, because that is how it should be government to allocate resources to deal with the population within that region. Unfortunately, we are not having this. So we need to kind of like maybe return to baseline and have this conversation. Malik John, we're going to send you as the chief prosecutor to go and see whether he can gather all of the evidence. He will be going with Pat Joyce. I don't know how it's going to be like.
I want to add Malik John something, man.
Let's leave it there. We're not going to
really. I want to add Malik something. So I'm not our Liberian trouble.
Yeah.
Malik, did you?
No, that your GW Gibson. Call him. There you go. I don't have GW Gibson to win one brigade.
No, to a serious note, Mr. Moderator. One of your callers said we should be contributing to the very police depot around like you.
That you investigate a Manisky report.
I'm coming now. No, I'm not coming from that point.
Are you guys opening
in a recent budget? The president is not interested in those things. He has allotted $3 million to himself to go on counter tour.
And to oil friends.
Why he's not
guys?
These places?
Jones. Emma, what Joy want to ask you? You're in GW Gibson before?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then I know him.
Okay. You're going to
I know him. Then I know him.
Have a pleasant.
No, at least we have our elementary record.
Yeah, then I know him. I know everybody. I'm a member of rock
All right, folks, that's how we're going to leave it this evening. I am Afonso Z and so of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. We don't allow people to bring their emotions on this network. If it is in you, let our feeling stays right in you. Don't bring it here. It's not about what you feel as a person. We are talking about a sovereign nation. So the feelings are going to be multiple, and we're going to have an open conversation where we're going to look at every aspect to have it, give you a fair and balanced sessions, and just in your own word to kind of convict people. I don't think that's how it's supposed to be. If you can give Prince Johnson senatorial position, if you can give George Boley and many others, and even the chief financiers to the war, so why not think the ordinary people who were just recruited? We have to give them second chance, and giving them the second chance does not mean they should do something out of the way. So for somebody to say he shouldn't be around, that's a little bit over the top. Until then, I want to be back here to another day. It's 10:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will continue to discuss Liberia. Everything has time. So says the songwriter. I want to thank you so much for your time this evening, being here. Until then, by God's willing, same time, same station, we want to be here. If this is the first time, we say thank you so much for joining us here. Unfortunately, we don't preach your soundbite, not necessarily what you want to hear. We tell you some of the things that you do not want to hear, or we feel those are things that we need to discuss. However, your views and opinions are always welcome here. Civility is the hallmark of this network, and that's why I make our Liberia Public Radio. We'll reach out to Verdier, as we have done. Hopefully, he will answer our phone call and ask some of these questions. What is he holding on to? Is he willing to release that? Is he willing to, even if he can't trust the government, is he willing to make those information public to the international community and to take it on? If you hold it on, what happens when CDC becomes, take a second terms? What becomes of us? So why should you hold information that is dangerous to the country? We need to root out those bad people and need to expose them. What action will be taken, that's a different thing, but then we know, and the evidence will show itself. Have a pleasant evening. Join us tomorrow to the late Copa will be laid to rest in Philadelphia. Liberia Public Radio crew will be there to bring you live images and in his final days. Until then, I am Afonso Z. So have a pleasant evening. And people, we need to start protecting our own alligator. Some of you saying very alligator. He who rides the back of the alligator goes into the belly. And we are in the tendency of protecting our own alligators that we raise unknown to ourselves. Thank you so much, and I have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.